So you're getting ready to buy or sell a house. Let's review 11 things that happen after an offer is accepted. Step number 1, alerting the team. First things first. Once an offer has been accepted, a lot of information begins to be exchanged. The listing agent lets the selling agent know that the offer has been accepted and emails them a signed contract. That signed contract is also emailed to the buyer's chosen lender, the chosen title company, and any other professional that may be involved in the transaction, such as a transaction coordinator. Step number 2, earnest money. The contract will specify the amount of money that will need to be deposited with the chosen title company and held until closing. The selling agent will collect a check or money order from the buyer. This will then be turned over to the title company, and a receipt will be provided to the listing and selling agents to share with their clients. Buyers, please note, you'll need to provide a copy of the bank statement showing the account that the earnest money was drawn from to your lender during the loan approval process. It's a good idea to get that together as quickly as possible. Step number 3, starting the loan process. Once the lender has the contract, they will begin to collect information for approving the buyer's loan. This is also the time during which the appraisal will need to be paid for. While each lender has their own requirements and each buyer has their own circumstances, there are some pretty consistent requirements. Most buyers will need their last 2 years' tax returns, last year's W 2s or 1099s, their last 2 to 6 months of pay stubs, a list of debts, and a list of assets for starters. Step number 4, setting closing. Typically, the closing is scheduled with the chosen title company by the selling agent based on the closing date agreed upon in the contract and the buyer's availability. Keep in mind, this isn't always true. Sometimes things make closing need to be extended by a day or two past the contract date. See our turbulence video for more information. Or occasionally, the seller will need to have the closing scheduled at a certain time of day to allow for the purchase of their new home. Step number 5, home inspections. The buyer has the option to have the home inspected prior to purchase. Some common inspections include whole physical home, termite inspection, radon testing, sewer scope, well or septic inspection. Cost varies between inspectors. The inspection period also varies for each contract. Repair requests must be submitted within the agreed upon time frame. Step number 6, the appraisal. The chosen lender will schedule to have an appraisal performed on the house. The appraiser will then schedule an appointment through the listing agent to come to the house and walk through to assess the value of the home. The appraiser will compare the house with other houses that have been recently sold in the area in order to prove the value to the bank. During the spring and summer months, when there are a lot of real estate transactions occurring simultaneously, or in our current market, it may take some extra time for appraisers to view houses and submit their reports. Step number 7, repair negotiations. Once a repair request has been made by the buyer based on the home inspection, the seller has the option to perform the requested repairs or renegotiate the terms of the sale with the buyer. Some repairs may also be requirements of the appraisal, especially if it is a government-backed loan, such as FHA, VA, or rural development. When requesting repairs, keep the following in mind: structure, systems, and safety. Step number 8, home insurance. The lender will require the buyer to obtain homeowner's insurance. The buyer will want to shop for coverage early in order to avoid any delays with getting to the closing table. There is some information that the insurance agent may need that the selling agent should be able to help obtain, such as the age of the home, the current market value, or the age of the roof. Step number 9, utilities. One of the last things that will need to be taken care of is the transfer of utilities. Sellers will need to continue to have electric, gas, and water connected to the home through closing day. Buyers will need to have utilities set up to transfer into their name the day of or the day after closing. If both parties have agreed to an early possession situation, the buyer will need to have utilities transferred into their name at the earlier possession date per the signed agreement. Step number 10, closing. On closing day, the buyer and seller will need to sign documents that transfer ownership of the property. The buyer will also need to sign documents provided by the lender which secure their loan. The title company will assign an escrow officer to perform the notarizations required and make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Step number 11, moving day. Congratulations! The transaction has closed and keys have been exchanged. The seller has moved out and the buyer is ready to finally move in. Thank you for continuing to trust us as your preferred real estate experts. Brought to you by the Knopfert Group, powered by Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Alliance, Wichita, Kansas.